Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with some Warpforge content, and today I am bringing you the Green Horde. We're going to do this a little bit differently. We're going to go into a bit more depth up front in this session because this is going to be a little bit of a Grukk masterclass. So if you're really interested in understanding a little bit more about the nuances of Grukk, we're going to compare a couple of decks, and that'll help me explain why we're going to test the Green Horde and kind of like what the pros and cons of that are versus my Grukk combo deck. And yeah, so I hope you're here for that. And if you like that, obviously hit the like and feel free to subscribe to the channel. We've got some exciting times ahead right now in Warpforge. The new ladder system's really lit a fire under me. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, so let's get on with the video. So first of all, I want to start with like just a little bit of an intro to like Grukk and my experience with Grukk. So I've always said that if you go back and watch my early videos, I've always said that I feel like objectively Grukk is one of the best warlords. If you ignore the meta and the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of balanced designs, just like as an actual warlord talent, this ability is phenomenal for me. It's probably my number one. I would put this as my S tier. Again, not taking into account any kind of individual meta in any season. If we're just looking at the talent itself, this is like an S tier talent. Like, card draw is so vital. Almost every meta since the game was released, when you look at who's been the number one deck each season, there's been a card draw element to it. And so I feel like card draw is super powerful in card games, right? And particularly where you're running a Grukk deck, where it's very much like a Swiss Army knife. It's all about having options and flexibility. And so drawing is really, really vital. And I'm going to talk more about things like early draws, for example, because this is where I see some people playing the deck wrong. I'll come back to that, but I just want to say for now that not only does it draw, it specifically draws a troop, so that opens up things around how we design the deck, right, and able to predict what we might draw. And it specifically gives +1 melee attack, which is very significant in this deck because we have things like Makari who can give +1. So if you imagine a Veteran Stormboy who's got 6 melee attack, if we draw a Veteran Stormboy, that means he's now 7. With Makari, that's 8 damage that thing can do. So we need to be thinking about the way in which this stuff stacks up. Now, as I say, I've been playing Grukk for a long time, and what I've established and learned over that time is that there are certain kind of shells and play patterns to Grukk, and so there are various different decks that you can make, and obviously that tailors well to different metas, but there are some fundamentals that are kind of the same, and I want to try and kind of pull some of those out if I can in this video for you guys, so hopefully that's helpful. I have finished in the top 10 with Grukk. I got my friend Alski into the game. He's actually not playing it now, but he finished 2nd or 3rd with Grukk. And more recently, I've got, with the new ladder system, we've got Buggy playing some Grukk. Obviously, Buggy known for being the Abaddon god, and he's just recently he's kind of like started playing this version, the Grukk combo version, and as a result, of sort of deep diving with it really, and really putting in the time, which you obviously have to do. He is now currently 2nd. He was 1st like a few hours ago on the kind of Ork leaderboard. So yeah, very experienced with Grukk, and as I say, I'm sorry for the slightly longer waffle, but hopefully you'll get some interesting insight out of this. I want to start by looking at the Grukk combo deck before we get onto the Green Horde, so you kind of understand where we're going with this. Now, this is the deck. If you haven't seen the video, I'm going to hopefully put a link. If you look at the top of the screen now, there should be a link there. If not, it is on my YouTube channel. But I just posted a deck guide for this deck, and this deck for me personally is the number one deck right now, just because it has very few weaknesses that can't be mitigated, and it is very powerful It has a high skill ceiling, and it can play against any deck if played right. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of people will play this deck and lose. They'll lose matches they shouldn't because it's a high skill ceiling. There's many mistakes you can make. Even I've been playing it as long as I have, and I still recognize mistakes that I make with the deck. But just for reference, I mean, I've played 10 games with this version this season in the new ladder system, and I'm 9-1. And the one that I lost was a mistake as well. Like, I don't mean like a miss, but I mean I literally selected a unit to attack the wrong unit. I was playing it on my phone, my big thumb, so you know, whatever. 9-1, still 90% win rate, and again, Buggy has climbed to the top of the Orc ladder. So this deck is phenomenally powerful. You'll see that the only change from the video in the link that I mentioned earlier is that I added a Snazwagon instead of the second attack squig. I'd like the second attack squig. I think the attack squig's very good in this deck. But the main reason for the Snazwagon is that sometimes waiting until 6 for your flanking removers, you sometimes need it one turn earlier. So this just shows up. One of the weaknesses of the deck is it can be aggroed down. And the Snazwagon helps with that, and particularly on the if we look at the defense, you can't see it from here, can you? But the Grot Riggers is the defense stratagem, which basically makes a vehicle cost 2 less. And what that enables us to do is to play Squigbuggy on E4, which is a really nice way of kind of tempoing to keep us up with the faster decks. If we have one Snazwagon, though, we can do that on E3. And this is something that, remember my friend Alski, who got to like finish 2nd or 3rd on ladder with Orkz, this is something he was really big on, was the E3 Snazwagon. And I think it just adds yet another option to a deck that's already filled with possibilities and options. So I made that change from one attack squig to the Snazwagon. You don't have to, you can run the second attack squig if you like. Other flex options there, you can run Rok Invasion, although I don't think this deck needs Rok Invasion because it already has a very clear and consistent win condition. And if you're really feeling spicy, believe it or not, there is even an opportunity in this version of the deck to run this card in the flex spot. So if you just want to play something slightly out of the box, why is this card good? Well, because this card comes down, it's stealth, and obviously with the 7 attack and hitting again, it can basically help set up your win condition. It can be an alternative win con in itself, but it can set up your win condition. It gets you towards that proper killy Warbiker range. So there's even a slot there. I mean, I don't think it's as good as the other two that we mentioned, but it's just to let you know. So this deck is very, very powerful. Let's now talk about the Green Horde that we're bringing today and why you might run that over the combo deck. So this is the Green Horde deck. Now, the main difference, the two weaknesses of the Grukk combo. One is, as we said already, it can be aggroed down. The other weakness is it doesn't really have many proactive players. So sometimes you've done such a good job removing units, and you have these turns where you're sitting there with like 6 energy, your opponent has nothing on the board, and good play would be to develop the board and take initiative, and you're not able to do that with the Grukk combo. So the Green Horde version can absolutely do that, and that's the main advantage that it has over the combo deck, is that this has a better ratio of like proactive and reactive players, whereas the combo deck plays a lot more reactive. We still have good reactive tools in here. We still have the shell. You're going to see the shell of obviously Makari and the Slugga Boys and the Prophet of the Waaagh and the Pyromaniaks and the Warbikes and the Irongobs and the Mukkin About removal and the kind of flank removals and the Will of Gork. So that kind of control package is still here. It's still present from the combo deck, but it gives us much more proactive players. And so that's the main sort of difference, if you like. And the way that this deck works, in contrast to the combo deck, is you essentially play like 3 or 4 waves. You have the Green Horde Wave 1, the Green Horde Wave 2, and the Rok Invasion. So you can kind of fill the board pretty much three times in the game. There are some smaller waves you can do because we run things like the Grot and we have Gretchin Mob, so you can do some sort of slightly smaller waves, like if you played that plus like a Slugga Boy or Stormboy, for example. But if you think of it as in basic terms of like you're going to have 3 big waves that your opponent's got to answer. And off of those waves, instead of running sort of proper killy as a win con, we have things like Unbridled Carnage, because obviously if you've got a full board and you play this, dealing 2 damage at random, it takes out stealth units, it can be a finisher, a beatdown, really nice combination with like the Grot, or really nice combination with the Gretchin Mob. By the way, don't forget that the Grot, if you throw this away in your mulligan, if you draw this with Grukk, that becomes a 2-1 Grot, and the Tide Grots also get that buff as well, right? So that's 3 2-1s that you get, not 3 1-1s. And then, of course, if you combine Makari on the board, that suddenly means that they can be 3-1s if you put them in a row. So you can, Grots can be, you know, quite powerful actually for the energy that you're expending. Now, I would say that obviously because we've got the 3 hordes, it's important to have things like Krump da Gitz in this version, so that we can set up flanks like on E12 you can Krump da Gitz and Rok Invasion, or you can build that into a Green Horde. On E4 you can obviously, what we want to do in this deck is we want to keep hold of our Slugga Boy Stormboys in our opening hand if we can, and then we want to be drawing them with Face-Rippa's ability, and potentially we can Green Horde on E4, or making all those costs 0. Obviously, we can play them out, and the Grot, we can play all that out in one turn on E4, which is an incredibly powerful early game start. On E6, we could do the same and drop Arda's Nails, giving everything +2 health. Arda's Nails is very, very big in this, because if we talked about those 3 waves that we drop, if we can play Arda's Nails on them as well, getting the +2 health, that really plays around. Even Eldritch Storm can struggle with that, which is one of the better AoEs to counter the waves. But if you get an Arda's Nails down, which against Eldar I would probably try to engineer that if you can, it's really powerful. So definitely you want to be looking out for that. Obviously you've also got the Ork Nob, and there's so many combinations, like playing Ork Nob with Slugga Boys, for example, on E8, or on E8 playing the Green Horde with making your Veteran Stormboy cost 2 less, so that's only 4 to play. So on E8 we can play Green Horde, Vet Stormboy, and then we can play out, obviously the Stormboys themselves will be free because of the Green Horde, and they get flank because of Vet Stormboy. So again, so many like really rich synergies in this deck. One card that I haven't got in here, but you could put it in for instead of the Skorcha Assault, some people really like, is the Mega Nob. So the Mega Nob is a 6E card. Here he is, and this gives you another combo. So on E10, for example, you can play the Green Horde with this, and basically just start putting down boys and attacking, and then this guy just keeps giving you Slugga Boys basically, so you can kind of fill your hand with this. So that's another nice combo. I mean, I don't think this necessarily needs it, to be honest, which is why I've not got it in, but it is powerful and it's definitely fun, and it's something that you can do if you want to drop the Scorch Assault and give yourself another kind of synergy there. You can do that. I do like one Scorch Assault though, because you know it just helps in terms of the early removal and things like that. So yeah, so this deck, obviously also you've got things like Pyromaniaks still, so you've still got the combo like you have in the other deck, where you play Pyromaniaks with the Irongob, meaning that you can stun 3 units. It's a great hold-up play, it's a great E7 play, right, because obviously Will of Gork is now 8, so if you're thinking, oh, I wish Will of Gork was still 7 because I need to clear this board, instead on 7 you play Irongob, Pyro, stun 3 units, hold the board up, they then develop some more units, and then you get a super value Will of Gork on E8. So yeah, I mean, you can even tease that, even if you haven't got Will of Gork. Sometimes I play that on E7, and I see my opponent not develop the board, because they're thinking that Will of Gork's come in, and I go, brilliant, so I managed to stun your 3 units, slow your tempo down, then I slowed you again by you thinking that I was going to Will of Gork, and you didn't develop, and now I can catch up and hit you with, like, you know, a Squigbuggy or something and come back onto the board. So the deck's just so good, guys. The deck's just, it's just got so many mind games and combos and possibilities. It's really cool. One thing that is important with both decks is to make use of Grukk Face-Rippa's ability to draw And not to panic too early. I mean, you have to understand the matchup. If it's a tempo opponent and you're going to lose to like a Ghaelyn or something like that, then sometimes you do just have to go in. You have to heal on 4, or you have to play out your Skorcha Assault, or if you've got Slugga Boy or Stormboy and you haven't got Green Horde, you should play those out on E4 generally and give yourself some tempo. But I definitely think before E5 you want to have tried to use Green Horde twice, not Green Horde, the red Waaagh. You want to try to use that twice. That's a general rule of thumb. Obviously, you have to take each game as it comes, but as a general rule of thumb, I try to do that. And here, I'm going to give you an example. I want to highlight this because somebody commented in my other video about why do I never play the Warbiker out on 3 when I've got no other play, for example. And here's how I would explain that, is that the Warbiker on 3 isn't finishing the game, it's not adding to tempo, and it's not really a value add play. So it's not a good play anyway, right? Like, you don't mind when you get the combo at the end and you win the game. You don't mind losing the board because you've won the game. But playing that on 3, you're not really adding to the game plan. Whereas if you're drawn a card, you are potentially drawing a resource that can help you get to that win con with the Warbiker later. And so I saw this game, and I'll keep it anonymous, but it highlights the point quite well, where the person played the Irongob on E4, but there was no pressure on the board and they had really good health. And in my head I was thinking I would have drawn there rather than playing the Irongob, but they played the Irongob, and then 2 turns later on E6 their opponent had a pretty decent board, which any of the 6-drop flankers like Veteran Stormboy or Squigbuggy would have answered the board state, and they didn't have it, and instead they had to play a Skorcha Assault, which basically whiffed a little bit, like especially on one of the bigger units, one of the units he needed to kill, did like 2 damage, and then they were kind of like massively behind and it's kind of stuck. And I think that's a really good example of, like, if you'd drawn instead of playing the Irongob, you were statistically more likely, especially in this deck, to draw one of your 6-drops. He was actually playing the combo version, but the same will apply here. And then he would have actually had an answer to that board. So again, this is a high skill ceiling deck, but you've really got to be thinking ahead, and the kind of short answer to that is draw. Yeah, draw cards. It's something that me and Alski used to always talk about with this deck and established early on, and he would often just have a full, you aim to have a full hand where you can. Obviously, if it's a very fast tempo deck, you can't always do that. All right. Obviously, different decks work better against different matchups. Against Eldar, for example, I think the Green Horde version might not be quite as good as the other version because it gives the Eldritch Storm value, and Eldar have a lot of like reactive units that can counter our proactive plays. But then in other matchups, having that kind of board pressure is more of an advantage with this. And a lot of people like the Green Horde. It's very orky, right? And flooding the board with units is quite a unique thing. A lot of decks can't really do that. You develop 1 or 2 units each turn, whereas this deck you can develop, an entire board worth of units, and there's not many ways to do that in Warpforge, so it's pretty good. Definitely want to be taking the Grot riggers on pretty much on both decks, to be honest, but specifically on the previous one on the combo deck. But I like to look for the Grot riggers because of the Squigbuggy, and in the other one the Snaz Wagon. In this deck you could actually get away with going down the other route and playing the 2 Grots, but ultimately, when we are mulliganing with this one, we really want to be looking for Makari. We really want to be looking for the Green Horde. They're the big ones, really, Makari and the Green Horde. Tier 2 would be looking for things like Slugga Boys and Stormboys, so we start to get ready, prepping for the Green Horde combo, early combo, and also, I would say, the Ork Nob, and potentially the Skorcha Assault. So that's what I'm looking for from a mulligan. If we're going second, And we've got 4 cards. I would also keep Squigbuggy, particularly with the Grot Riggers. That's a really nice combo that you can then play out on E4. And generally, I would throw away the Warbikers. In gas control, I often keep Warbikers, but in this type of deck, you actually want to throw the Warbikers away, and so you can draw them with Grukk and get like the 5 melee attack and use it that way instead. Alright, so what I want to do now is jump into a couple of games for some... Okay, so let's dive into a game, and we have got Ghaelyn. Now we're going first. I do think Squigbuggy is very good in this matchup though, and we've only got 1. We might keep hold of that. Now it's against Ghaelyn, isn't it? So I think the +1 makes sense because Ghaelyn has a nice... Mind you, actually, does it make sense? Yeah, because we're drawing anyway. We're definitely not attacking. So in this situation, what we actually do is play out the Slugga Boys. And this is what we mean about kind of having more proactive options in this version. Interesting that Aeldari generally have good reactives tools, but he sort of didn't seem to have the answer there. And what we can do now is obviously drop this guy. Wait. If we do it this way... We probably should clear the stone and keep one alive, but I just... This is the fun of keeping... being able to keep the board there. It's kind of interesting. A lot of different ways we could have done that. So if we actually do the melee attack here, then this guy is going to heal to 2. Which means that he can actually trade with this one, should we want to. Not a bad idea, because keeping healthy against Ghaelyn is important. So I try to think carefully about even simply a 2 energy trade that we don't necessarily need to make. It's worth considering. Like, if you're asking yourself, how can I lose? I mean, these are good questions to ask yourself every turn. Like, what will they play next, and how can I lose? That's always This story is pretty good. Like, one way we can lose to Ghaelyn, he's obviously just been tempoed down, so using these extra bodies that we've got from the proactive players can help maintain health, and obviously explosion is going to hurt us there and stuff, so we've got to think about that. I was actually incorrect. We should have melee attacked there because the net benefit was we would have got the extra health point back, and this guy would have actually got a buff. So we should have melee attacked there. So, like, we could use Pyro here to kill this. The only problem is normally I like to use Pyro for dealing with stealth against Eldar, but I actually think this is pretty good. This is just too good an opportunity to not seize. Like, really can put pressure on Ghaelyn. And this is what I mean with this deck about, like, different lines of play that you can kind of find. You know, we can even hit here and just, like, clear the stone. So you can definitely see, like, compared to the combo deck, it's a much more proactive, like, body-based approach. I think we're going to Krump da Gitz here, actually. Krump da Gitz means we can get rid of this. Basically just apply pressure this way, and then with next turn we've kind of got it with the Skorcha Assault, right? In theory. Nice, got the discount, so we should be able to deal with these pretty easily. We have a 66% chance of winning just off the Skorcha Assault in this. We can also card draw. We've got a really good chance of not being card counting, but you can count the amount of troops that you've got. It's a really good habit if you're a beginner with Grukk. Write down the number of troops in your deck and keep track every time you use draw, so you know what odds you've got. So for example, if we draw into Makari, that gives us the win, or we could draw into second Warbiker, that would give us the win. I think he's going to have stunned. Oh, he hasn't stunned Grukk. That's a mistake. Why would you not stun Grukk? So let's do the draw just so you can see. Okay, we ended up getting that. Never mind. GG. Alrighty, let's go again. Okay, so against Nemesor, I'm actually going to keep a Will of Gork. There are some board states that could get away with from us. We're actually going to take the Extractor Rig this time because I think we just picked up Squigbuggy. Yeah. So in the combo deck, we always take the Extractor Rig, right? And we look for this. In this deck, we more often than not take the Grots, actually, because they've got better synergy. Combine them with Ork Nob, you can combine them with Unbridled. The exception is if you do have one of your Squigbuggies in the opening hand. So of course we're going to draw. Got the good double Green Horde, but no Orks. Some might say it's a little bit Orks. This is interesting. We kill that. The answer was no. I could have used the rig last turn, and that would have meant I wouldn't have milled my Warlord power. But we knew we weren't going to Warlord power this turn, so that didn't matter, and it would have given away that we had the rig. So no need to give our opponent that information in that situation. Okay. Okay, so we're going to put the guy back in his hand to raise again. Play out proactively. And it can feel a bit weird, like when obviously you've got double Green Horde. But you've kind of got to ignore it in that situation. They will come through, and it's correct to kind of develop the board there with the hand state that we've got. I mean, we definitely could have got away with a draw. But look at this. Question is, do I want heal? I think I do want... I think maybe we use heal here, actually. Because I want to save the Veteran Stormboy for the Green Horde combo. So I think, yeah, I think we're going to do this. It's a little bit off east, so to speak, but... If we didn't mind about the remnant from this, by the way, we could have kept this guy alive. But I really want to clear this remnant, so... it that way. I mean, obviously the Vet Stormboy is much cleaner there, but really thinking about the hand that we've got, I think I foresee some good Green Horde value. If we can draw Stormboy, then E8, we've got a nice combo there, for example. This might just be drawn mucking about, to be honest. Especially now we've drawn a second one. I think I'm actually going to hit. Yeah, if we do that, that goes up to 3. If we do it this way, then basically he can't remove the board, right? Okay, that's good. He's not developing the board. He's a tempo deck and he's playing reactively to us, so we're more than happy with that. We get to take the board again. Oh, wait a minute. Has he got a 0? No, he hasn't. I thought he had a 0E card there. Okay, we're going to have to use this now. Yeah, it's not a great turn for us, but... Gotta do it. Gotta do what we gotta do. Honestly, just looking for an Ork. Dump one of the Green Hordes. Okay, let's go. See the buffed Grots? All 3 of them end up with the 2, which is nice. That'll do. The old faithful finisher. GG. Okay, next up we got Orikan. It's probably going to be... probably going to be... Scarabs, right? Ugh, that's a problem. It's a problem because we're only running one squig. I think this one might be, we might just be looking for an E4 Green Horde, particularly if that's got flyers. Horrendous opening. Yeah, it's definitely what we're looking for. And then we've basically got to pray to God he doesn't have Scythe Assault. Okay, here we go. Green Horde. Get that attacking. Put Makari next to the boss. Let's put the flyers next to... Wait. There's next to Makari. Makari's going to die anyway. So no, we want to put these next to Makari, right? I don't think it actually makes a difference, really. It would in terms of like flankers he could put on, I guess. So you like to flood the board, do you, scarabs? How's that for flooding the board? And he used this card that makes spells cheaper, didn't he? So he could tempo out the Extermination Protocol and build a board. And if he has got Scythe Assault in his hand, then this is like really punishing that. He might be thinking this is like the Grukk combo, and he probably wasn't expecting this. Oh, he had the curse. Okay, very nice. It's a very nice answer for him, that is. Yeah. Just a small one. Okay, let's force him to refuel his board. Okay, he had the Scythe Assault. Nice. Okay. He's going to refuel this turn. Question is whether he's drawn his finisher, the 5-drop that blows everything up. If he has, he's going to win. If he hasn't, we should get that extra turn for the Squigbuggy to go off. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. They run this. Very interesting. I'm actually going to get rid of the... I'm going to get rid of that because I don't really want fast going off. I'm going to do this as well. Recent buff to Disruption Blades. Is that giving him lethal? Looks like it might have. Hmm. He got us. We had a 66% chance of that draw, and we lost it. Never mind. GG. Okay, so there you go, guys. Hopefully, I mean, those games showcased a little bit of it. There's still a lot more to see with this deck. I'm a bit annoyed that I lost some of my pre-recorded stuff as well. But anyway, that gives you, we didn't draw into the Unbridled Carnage and some other stuff there in there to show you. But I think that gives you a bit of a sense of the Green Horde variant. Like I say, I think the other one overall is a little bit more powerful, but this is definitely very powerful and very good fun as well. And hopefully the kind of the intro to this gave you a little bit more insight just into Grukk in general and some nice tactics to help you get on with the gameplay. Yeah, if you like this video, drop a like, and until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.